Hello? Okay, good. I was a little worried that my mic probably wasn't connected. Because for some reason, I'm having the same issues again where the mic just doesn't want to connect to the PC automatically. But we're here. Um, yeah. Yippee. Woohoo. Hello. Welcome. I don't know how to start streams anymore. Is there a formula to starting streams anymore? I feel like there should be, but also at the same time, I never know for certain because I feel like every single time that I start a stream or every time that I see somebody start a stream, it's always different. And it's like, how are you supposed to start this? Because even I don't know. And I've been streaming now for a pretty long while, so what does that say? But anyways, we have no plans. I have literally zero thoughts, zero plans for what we're doing today because I literally couldn't think of any. I might just pull up a sketch of something I'm working on and we'll just like continue working on it. I don't really got much. I mean, yes, I have a lot to work on. I have a lot of different stuff. For those that don't know, I am currently making a comic. I'm currently working on more of the pre-production stuff. I had done some work on this comic before. Like, it actually has chapters out. But I decided that I'm scrapping it all and redoing it. It's not completely different. It's just that there are some story beats that have really changed a lot, and I'm trying to get to things faster so that we get to the good stuff a lot quicker and it's not taking as much time. So I'm planning it out better, having a script. I actually worked on some script writing today, so you want to know how far I am? 3 chapters. That's it. 3 chapters plus a prologue, but I think I'm gonna change the prologue or even get rid of it, honestly. Well, the prologue will be somewhere else. Which seems weird. Like, why would you put a prologue somewhere else? I'm gonna be weird, because I like breaking rules. I like to break things, so why not break rules? So yeah. I'm just gonna, I might even just like pull up a little roulette that says like 1, 2, or 3. And I'll have things written down for 1, 2, or 3, and then that's what we work on. Because I have 3 things. You know what? I'll do a coin flip. I'll do a coin flip on, you guys won't be able to see this. I'm gonna do a coin flip and we're gonna see. Here, let me say choose number. There we go. Between 1 and 3, because I have 3 things. I need to write down what 1 and 3 is. You know what? 1 we work on that. 2 we work on that. 3 we work on that. Okay. What? Okay. Here, let me roll. Okay, then I guess that's not gonna be a surprise anymore. You'd never believe what it picked. Funny enough, I thought it would pick the first 2, because the first 2 is like something to do with like comic or just like art illustration. The last one was just like, I'll just throw it in there for throwing it in there, and it has decided that that is what we will be working on. If you want to know what we're going to be working on, oh wait, I just realized, did I ever change my stream title? No, of course I didn't, because I'm dumb. We're not doing Stardew. There we go. I always have my, I totally am fine. I totally changed my stream title before we started. I didn't Totally just change it right now. Look, no one... I'm an artist. I went to college for art, not for mathematics and stuff, okay? I literally told that to somebody. I was like, I don't know math. I I went to school for art. And and funny enough, it was at a like a art textile kind of like place. So they all laughed because they were like, yeah, we understand. It's like, we're artists too. We understand. They run a business and it's like, Alright, let me pull this thing up then. Because I have to go through folders for this. Where is it? Where did I put it? I have a lot of folders. I organize so much stuff that the problem is I don't have a lot of folders in the sense of none of them are named and it's everywhere. No, I just have a lot of folders that are specifically named specific things, so I specifically know where things are. But that also doesn't help because of other things. All right, we're gonna open this up. It's gonna be a little bit... I'm working on a sketch of it, so I don't know how much will get done, but I do want to block in some coloring as well, and I don't know if we'll do rendering on it. But let me show you guys what I got. To the art! There we go. Let me get my stuff out. My drawn tablet out. Also, like, really quickly, and let me check something. Just, like, watch that none of my music and audio is working. Okay, no, it's all working good. Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check. No, my sub to my friend expired. Gotta resub to be part of the sub gang. What am I saying? I don't got money to resub. One problem. I do like supporting my friends and stuff, but it's like when I have the money, I try and support them. Because I gotta take care of myself first, and I know that they would want me to take care of myself first over giving them subs. Anyways, so our random number lottery decided to go and say, hey, you know that background that you've been wanting to work on for a while, that you've literally just kind of sketched and dumped? This is what I like to call a sketch and dump. It's not even a whip. I would argue this isn't even a whip. This is what I like to call a sketch and dump. I sketch it and I dump it and I like walk away from it and I never touch it again. Or I touch it every now and then, you know? But it's not always. It's not always around and about, right? So here is my sketch and dump of a background I want to do for stream at one point, because you know, I kind of want to get away from the portals and stuff and, you know, not look like I'm a hobo out in the woods. So we making this so I don't look like a hobo out in the middle of the woods. I mean, technically right now I am a hobo out in the woods. But, you know, George and I, we need a place to stay. We need a roof over our heads, you know. It's probably not going to be anything like the Storm Temple. The Storm Temple had, like, way more things. But you know what? I like the cozier cabin vibes. So I literally looked up. So I'm going to try and build some sort of, like, immersive... It might not be as immersive as other people's, because I've been seeing a lot of people, or streamers, doing really immersive areas. Basically, what they do is they have an entire area or entire world of sorts. So I'm gonna show you guys this. I'm gonna show you guys this. Let me get it up. Hi, puppy. She's like, I'm scratching myself. Hold on. That's what she does. This is a whip, but let me open this. So we do technically have an entire Chaos National Park. That's the lore of where we are. But I want to work on starting to build it more, right? So we have like a few things. So we have Abyssal Lake, which is where the portals are. So that's where we normally are. So we're up here. And then I want to make a meadow area for us to like chill and talk with and maybe have like little parties in. So this will be like the party area. I don't know about the name though. We might change it. This is where I crash landed here on Earth. So that's my little area. And then up over here is where this is gonna be, which is I call it the fire lookout idea, but I don't know what we're gonna exactly call our humble abode. But it is based on fire lookouts. So if you've ever seen some people play like certain games like well, there is a game called Fire Lookout, I believe. But it's basically that, but renovated to be like more of a home space instead of like a full thing. Yeah. There is 2 halves to the park, but that will be explained later when we have Tra get introduced, which is a person I'm not supposed to technically know as part of the lore, but that is the male version of Art that is going to be introduced. Honestly, I was thinking of doing a debut for them, but part of me just kind of wants to like just have a stream where they're just suddenly there and it makes like no sense. So it's not like really a debut, but it's kind of a debut, you know? So there'll be some lore, there'll be some stuff, and yeah. But just know that it might be a full character kind of thing, and then eventually it'll just be like, yeah. Anyways. Oh, hello. Why are you over here now? Okay. She's like between a chair that has her bed on it, and she's on the ground, and my chair. So I have to be careful when I back up or move in this. So yeah. Bro, I already have Depresso Espresso. I don't need more. It's that time of the month, man. I don't need more of that. But yeah. Ba 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 ba. You always have to be careful. Your bottom is a weapon of destruction. Well, I'm not destruction. I'm creation. Destruction is somebody else. How I have it set up in my lore is that there are a bunch of different versions of Art, and each one has their own, like, title. So the reason I'm called Art Creates is because I am the chaos of creation. So now my name makes more sense. Without destruction, there is no creation. Without creation, there is no destruction. Yeah. That's why the male version is going to be destruction. There's a reason. There's a reason everything is lining up. Look, I do big brain moves. Big brain moves. Anyways. You're only at this level. Yeah. Basically. Oh my gosh. I was trying to drink water, but then I also burped. And I almost choked. Art passed away because a burp in her mouth while she was trying to drink. You need to change. See the official. Yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna work on this. This is a background idea that I have, but I kind of want to sketch it out like a little bit more. So let me kind of like pull you guys through the room really quickly with idea. So, of course we have the bed. We have a miniature Fan-kun, because we have to put Fan-kun in here. Fan-kun is best kun. He's part of the lore now. Honestly, this is kind of how I have my stand fan. I have my stand fan like over here and like aimed at my bed because it's hot. It gets up to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit out here, which is I believe like 32 degrees, over 30 degrees Celsius. So it's hot. It'd be hot. And then it's like, that's hot. That's hot, yeah. But you're always hot, Art. I know, but I know it's how I look and all of my beauty and gloriousness. I'm always hot, but I don't like physically being hot. Wait, isn't that the same thing? Internally, I don't like being hot. Wait. I don't think that helped. You're the mom of Elastigirl? Oh my gosh, Elastigirl. Damn. Why do they make Elastigirl so thick? Why? I feel like she started the whole entire thing of Pixar moms. She was the true beginning for everybody. Because she is Superwoman, so super thick. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Anyways, I have no idea what this oh, no, I remember what this drawing was. Okay, never mind. There's so for Jose on my phone, let's just say that his profile picture is really funny, on my phone. And yeah, his profile picture is really funny. So I'm making that over here, but like with his own butt. Clothed, it'll be clothed, because if I have it unclothed, I feel like I'll get banned. But yeah, so let me take you around the room here a little bit. So we have my bed with my plushies. This is not a representation of the amount of plushies that I have. This is just more of a representation of one particular plush I have. What the heck? That is weird. And if we come over to the desk over here, I don't know if I'll get rid of this radio or not. I don't know how I feel about this radio. But we have a few people here that are all representational of my friends. They're all little plushies of my friends. We need a comic of Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl called The Fall of Mr. Incredible. I feel like that already exists. Look up Rule 34. You'll probably find something. Well, if you look up just Rule 34 Elastigirl, I think that you'll get some really weird ones, but, you know, to each their own. Why is everybody coming in on me talking about Rule 34 Elastigirl? I just saw other people. What the heck is happening? I just keep seeing more and more frogs appear. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm so glad my stream is 18 plus. Okay. Oh yeah, the Walter White. Anyways, let me take you around the room more. So we have my spear here. Subject to change. This is because how I'm gonna do it will depend on how I finalize the character design for the comic, because again, my lore comic, even though that it's a lore comic about it, I think it's more of just I'm writing a story that I've always wanted to write, and then I'm just using the main character from it as my avatar, and that's it. So all the lore in the comic, you don't have to read in order to understand the lore of my VTubing. What is read? Oh my gosh. That's why I'm making a comic. You don't really have to read it entirely if you think about it. You could just look at it. How I eat that? No, you cannot eat read. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we have some notable little characters here, each representing some of my friends that I've made. No, you cannot eat it. Technically, if I devour reading, reading will no longer exist. It's like Chainsaw Man logic. If I consume something, technically it'll no longer exist. I can recreate it, but technically I can destroy things, but technically yes and no. But anyways. I don't know why I'm so coffee today. I don't know. I'm very hoarse today. Speaking about hoarse, can we have a moment of silence for Haru Urara, the horse that never won a race, except for that one? Can we have a moment of silence for the horse? Because they unfortunately passed away earlier this morning. Well, in Japanese time, they passed earlier this morning. Let us have now a moment of silence. I will actually turn off the background audio for this. We will have a moment of silence. 1 minute of silence. Haru Urara, legend of the champion of all losers. And for right now, we shall have now 1 moment of silence. And with that, our moment of silence is over. No, honestly, I am kind of sad. You know, I think that the memes and all the ryegrass they sent her. Oh my goodness. Maru the cat that would get into small boxes also died. What the heck? Really? Now there's 22 tons of grass for the other horses. I mean, they were already giving it out to the other horses anyways. So, not really that much of a difference, honestly. Because they knew that, Haru would have gotten fat really quickly if they just fed her the grass only. So they gave it to others. To the other horses that were also at the stable. But the good thing was that they didn't have to spend money on feeding them or like giving them grass, so that they could focus on other healthcare stuff, which I think at the end of the day was pretty good. The original roster of Uma Musume only had 2 horses. Only had 2 horses are still alive. Gold Ship is going to be the last. Even Image Gold Ship say. Like always. Oh my god. Yeah, Gold. I feel like Gold Ship is going to be definitely the last to kick the bucket out of all of them, man. Anyways. Or We're gonna have some books here in the little area. And we're gonna have some more books over here. I might try and put books that I actually own in here, but like make them slightly off and be funny puns, because I feel like people will understand it if I write them as funny puns. So not all of these will have writing on them, but if you find one with writing on it, it probably is something I own. So as a little like nod, and if you guys find it, then you find it. Fun. Yeah. Yeah, that gold ship hadn't hit his prime yet. Yeah. He literally was holding back. Yeah. And now if we go a little bit closer over to this book over here, you'll see that there are some pages open to some cool stuff. Now this does have to do more with lore. At least this one does. This one is more of the lore of the stream. So, yeah. And we have my mug. Cool little lamp. All that sort of stuff. So we're going to just kind of be sketching this and kind of trying to like figure out what else I want to add or change. So yeah. Yeah, I think that they're going to be adding a lot more. I mean, what? They already added, at least on Japan's side, they already added, what's the yandere one? They added like a yandere one, and I forget what her name was. I think it was like love, it was love something. I don't remember. I don't remember the full thing. All I know is she is yandere horse. That's it. Like that horse, yeah, the yandere one was only love. Yeah, only love. Oh my gosh. The names they give these horses, and then the horses live up to those names. It's crazy. No, those are the dolls. Oh, here's the sketch. Oop. This is not the right color. A lot of people might be like, why are you sketching this? Well, let me sketch when I want to. It's me knowing where to put stuff when I block stuff in. Because I might not use the 3D models. Good thing how original team is all together with the oh yeah, that's kind of sad, but yeah. But I'm gonna have my own racehorse called Old Era. Oh my gosh. I know. The names of these horses, I'm just like, why are you naming them this? There's a horse called Skibbity. Not joking. Horse called Skibbity. Look it up. They're real. You know what I think is really gonna annoy people when I'm like fully drawing this and stuff? People are gonna be like, why are all these books misaligned? My OCD. I'm gonna be like, you haven't seen my bookshelf. This isn't how I separate all my books, but sometimes depending on the series and stuff, like I alphabetical order them, and it's like, that's how it looks. Though most of the stuff I have is manga. So it's pretty much all the same. I'm actually currently finishing up reading a book called The Disabled Tyrant's Pet Fish. And I was like, oh, I think this has like five volumes in it. No, actually, it only has 4. And I have I'm almost done reading 3. So yeah, I'm almost done reading 3 and I'm kind of sad. that, that is almost over. I'm like, no, I really enjoyed this book. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, when you're reading a series and stuff, yeah. There was one book that I was reading and I got mad. I got mad at it. Not because, okay, I'll tell you this much. One thing that I hate about books that are coming out nowadays is nobody tells you that they're a series. There's nowhere that it says that it's a series. Okay. Now, to be fair, I can understand if they write the first book and then the book doesn't get like a series deal, so it kind of like ends, right? Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief actually was only written to be one book. So it wasn't supposed to be a series, but it sold so well that they were like, hey, can you make this a series? And they did, and they made a 5-book deal. Now, the thing is that a lot of reading consumption nowadays, I feel like, is just always a series. And I don't mind that, but sometimes I just want to read a singular book. So I picked up Iron Widow. I will, maybe later. I picked up Iron Widow thinking that it was going to be one book. Then, a little while later, the author pops up on my TikTok. The author pops up on my TikTok and says, I'm just announcing my second book, which is the sequel to Iron Widow, Heavenly Tyrant. And I'm like, there's 2? You know what? Okay, 2 books. That's fine. Pick up the 3rd book, finish reading it. At the end of it, it says to be continued. And I literally I close the book, I put it down, and I'm like, you have to be kidding me. Can we all agree that if it is going to be a series book and you got picked up for a series deal, that you should put 1 on there, at least a 1 on there, so that I know that it's going to be somewhat of a series, so I can be more prepared to be invested into a series? Because I hate this nowadays. Literally, I go and pick up books, and literally, I find out later on that, oh, you know that's like the 2nd book in the series. It doesn't say 2 on it! How was I supposed to know? So yeah, that's my beef with it's more, I would say, more a US problem, or like US and Canada problem, because I think because Iron Widow is being published in from Canada. So I think it's just like the US American area just doesn't do it. But yeah, I'm like so mad. I'm not mad at the writer. I'm just mad at the publishers that are not informing people that there's sequels and stuff. Because like, I look at graphic novels. Graphic novels say volume 1 on it. Right? So like, I know that there's gonna be more. Dames, light novels, will tell you, hey, this is the first one, right? So you know it's a series. If it doesn't have a 1 on it or a number on it, that means it's a one-shot. It is a singular book. Now, to be fair, thinking about other books, yeah, they also didn't have numbers on them. Like, at least some of the older books didn't. Because I'm, like, thinking about, like, The Hobbit. And I'm also thinking about Lord of the Rings. Because there's Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, whatever. but it was always called The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, right? So it had the thing, so you knew this is a series. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I just have that's like my only like trife with stuff is like if you're going to make it a series, please like I don't know, inform people. Unless like people know that it's going to be a series. Like Brandon Sanderson's stuff, the artist. Oh my gosh. But with Brandon Sanderson, like Brandon Sanderson always writes series. He always writes a series. So it's like, if you know the author is gonna write a series, fine. But there's so many, but you have Two Towers art. I know, I got Two Towers right here. You can't see them because the drawing tablet's blocking it, but they're right here. I hope that's the Two Towers you were talking about. I like how we're barely doing art and I'm just complaining about book stuff. But yeah, that's my one complaint with books, okay? It's just, if it's gonna be a series, say it somewhere, okay? It should be said. There was another book I read. I kind of like the premise. It's not a good story. I'm gonna be 100% honest. That story was not good. However, I did like it in the sort of a guilty pleasure way, which was Assistant to the Villain. I liked it in a way of, it's just a good bad read. Like, it's like a bad, you know, like bad B movies that are so bad that they're good. Use the Two Towers as a table to draw. Exactly. I'll tell you this much. I can actually put boba right here. And it will stay there. It is literally a table. That is how big I have them. That's why I say, like, by the way, these are completely natural and they're annoying, okay? My two towers are very annoying and I hate them. But I also don't mind them as long as I know what I'm doing with them. But yeah, so I will say for the most part, if you're going to be writing with Assistant to the Villain, that one, the person said, I was like, oh, this is like a really good book. And it's like, oh, to be continued. Okay, maybe it's going to get like 3 books or something like that. It's a 5-book deal. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Sorry. Bye. Not reading this anymore. And the reason being is because I'm going to be honest here. If you're doing a 5-book deal, you have to have that, at least that book, 1 book come out every single year. If you H rank, you think it's H? Bigger. It's cute. You think it's H. They're not big giant honkers that it looks. My boobs look proportional. My towers are not H, but they are proportional to my body. So they don't look huge, but they actually are that big. Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about how big my towers are? But now you guys know why I have back problems. Oh my gosh. The death of my back. I am being conservative. Yeah. H is very well, okay, I'm a little bit bigger than H, but not too much. You know, a curious fact noticed about Tolkien. What is a curious fact that you noticed about Tolkien? Oh, fun fact, when Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, he wanted it to be a lore thing he literally was creating lore for Britain so that Britain could stop stealing things from other people to put in the British Museum. I'm not even joking. That's why he made like a whole history book too. The most culture conservative always is Towers of the Roman Empire. That's true. He died in backwards. What? Wait. No, that doesn't sound familiar to me. Look, I'm not as big as historian buff as you think I am. Or a nerd. Well, I'm very much a nerd, but... There we go. I know how that looks. Leave it alone. You know, one thing I kind of want to talk about, because I am going to be working on my comic. At some point, we might do some streams where I will be working on the comic. I will say this much. I have been thinking about printing it, and the amount of things to kind of go through to figure out how to print something like my comic is just like... I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how people figure out the dimension sizes that they want to use. What do you think the fact is I noticed about these numbers? I have no idea. Oh, let me get my drawing glove, because I keep forgetting to wear it. I keep forgetting to wear my drawing glove. But I don't know, like, how people are able to, like, kind of figure out how big they want something to be in order for them to make their comic and stuff. Because I looked up what the printing size dimensions of a comic is, and I was like, oh my gosh. It's because 3 rings for the race of the elves. Why is this? 7 for the dwarf lord. 9 for the... Oh my gosh. And 1 to... What? Oh my gosh. Even he died is part of the Okay, so Tolkien died in 1973, but backwards is 3791. 3 for the race of the elf, for the race of elves, the wisest and purest of them all. 7 rings for the dwarf lords, 9 for man, and then 1 ring to rule them all. Oh my gosh, Tito, you're a madman. But the fact, I now have to live with this. I have to now tell my friend. I have to tell Jose. Because both of them are Lord of the Rings fans. Oh my god, they're gonna lose their minds. They're going to lose their minds. I've lost my mind. I'm not even a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and I've lost my mind. What the heck? Yo. I always notice weird facts. Now that I see that, if I was more of a Lord of the Rings fanatic, I probably would have noticed it too. Something that I do want to say though, about like comic making is a lot of people say like, oh, you should set up your art for being able to print. Let me just show you something. You won't be able to see it entirely, but there's a setting. So I have like a little box here that's open. That's like for opening up like comic stuff. So they have like comic settings here, which shows like how big the full page is and everything. But one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're making a comic that you don't really need to think about when you're making like just a scroll comic, because scroll comics like for web, whatever, doesn't matter. But if you want to print it, you gotta think about this. You have to think about bleed. Bleed just means the area that is beyond that of the area of where you're going to be coloring. Because you want the color to probably go past those areas. If it's white, like this doesn't matter. But if you have like a character that's like coming out of the frame or is like bigger, you probably will need to basically this is like drawing off the page, right? But still encompassed. So you have to think about that. Then you have to think about like all the sizing of where to place everything. So where to place all the lines, and make sure that those lines, when you're like reading it, so that when you're reading the actual thing, that it's not cut off, right? In between margins, or like gets cut off because of bleed. So it's like you have to like make sure that everything is enclosed in it. And I'm like, how the heck do you guys know how big to make like the margin areas and encompass it for bleed ideas? And I'm gonna be honest, it was hard to figure it out. The other thing is too, is that there's different sizes you can print things at. So there is literally there's a standard comic size and a standard comic size, because I had to look this up. I was like, what is a comic? Now, the thing is that we're thinking about comic books. I'm not thinking about graphic novels. I'm thinking about comic books, right? Comic books are not the same size as mangas and anime, right? Okay? Those are completely different sizes. If you were going to be making a comic that was going to be a manga, more than likely the default stuff that's already in like Clip Studio, you can do it that way. You don't have to like make your own. I have to make my own because it's US standard sizes, right? Because I'm thinking about it being a graphic novel that's probably going to be printed, like if I was going to print it myself, right? And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to print it, I'm going to make it this size, which is double the size of a US trade. US trade is a 6x9. So it's a pretty big size book. It's a pretty decent size, but it's not like too big, but not like too small. So it's like a relatively good size, right? And but you know, you have to think about like margin sizes, you have to think about all this. By the way, do you want to know how much it will cost to print just one? Depending on the amount of pages, it costs anywhere between $3 to $5, depending on the amount of pages. All right. And then of course, like anything else you want to do or add on or whatever else, right? So that's like to do one, but then it's like probably like another $2 to ship it to myself, you know, because I gotta ship it to me. So yeah. And if anything, like I might do a collection of like mini comics that I might do into a little collection, and then just use that as a proof of concept to like test out with a proof of concept of how big it would be. So like,
a devotee is checking in. To ensure check-in is complete, please give me your credit card.
Thank you for the daily check-in. We will use and abuse your card. So yeah, so you have to like think about all this stuff in order to print it. And I know technically not right now, I'm not going to print it. It's going to be for like digital, whatever. But it's like I'm making it in preparation so that if I did get it printed, like I wouldn't have to do that much in order to fix it to work. So, but I'm making it double the size of everything just so that it works. Hold on, George. Oh, I know what you're going to do. I'm prepared.
I am George Dimmadome, owner of the Chaos Dale Dimmadome.
There it is. Another fun fact art. Tolkien rid the word elvish before elves themselves were invented. Well, I think elves did exist, but they didn't exist in our context of what we think elves are. Right? I think elves in the way of high fantasy that Tolkien created, yes. But elves in other sorts of ways did technically exist. They weren't called elves because Norse. Ah. Yeah, see, it's like elves probably did exist. They just didn't exist in the context of how Tolkien wrote them. Funny enough, I feel like a lot of people might think that my characters, when I start writing my comic and everything, they're gonna be like, oh, these are elves. And I'm like, no, they're aliens. They're aliens with pointed ears. That's it. But their ears are an adaptation. Actually, not all of them have pointed ears. Some of them have different kinds of ears. So, yeah. All different shaped ears. And that's how you know which race each elf, or each Telvin is. You can tell by the ears. Because, see, Fira's ears are, like, downturned, like, ears. So they're turned down. And then there's Taida, and she has, like, you know, the typical fish ears, you know? So it's like, their ears exist. It's just, they don't exist in the way that people think that they do. Yeah, let me just, like, show you guys. I'm gonna make a new thing so you guys can kind of see this. So, let me just, like, show you guys. So basically, this is a big file size, by the way. This is like double the size of a US standard. So it's a 12, it'll be cut to a 12 by 18, but it's actually a 6 by 9. So it'll be cut in half of this. Ah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me just like, oop. Wrong thing. Let me just show you guys really quickly. So, this is what I had to learn This is the trim line. So this is all the bleed. You want your artwork to go beyond here. So if you have like a character, so like let's say you have a character that's like here, you'd want a majority of them to be in here, but then you could have the character be going out like this. So like let's say that they're looking up. So like we're looking up at them or something. Right? That's really good sketched out. What the heck? But you want it to go beyond here, right? So, and different things require different sorts of bleeds. So this is like the smallest bleed, which is about 0.13 inches. Which is a typical bleed. That's like perfect for paperback. Which is what I want, because it's hard. We're not gonna do hardcovers. I feel like hardcovers are too much for graphic novels, you know? I don't know anything that does hardcovers except for like major big comic publications. We're talking like DC, Marvel, right? Or, you know, we're talking about like D&D and stuff, right? Those I would call that. So you would want the character to go beyond that of here. But if you have a speech bubble or something, you know, they're saying like a speech bubble, you don't want the speech bubble down here, because the speech bubble could get cut off, because there's like a line, because you see the line here and the line here. This is kind of a trim line. So this is the trim. This is a safe area. Honestly, I don't know what this third line is. I don't know why this third line pops up, because it actually really confuses me. The reason being is because this is the trim line. This could be a fold line. So this will be like a fold if a fold happens. So this is kind of just around here for folding. So you don't want it beyond here so it doesn't get cut off. Now, of course, this would be more if the bubble was like, if a speech bubble was like here, right? There's a possibility no one's gonna read this, all right? So you want it to be more in the safe area or within that of this bounding box, which would be here. So this isn't okay, this isn't okay, this is okay. You also don't want a character here. Unless you're trying to do that for like weird context stuff. Because a lot of them is gonna get cut off, right? If you have a character like this. So it would be better to bring them in more, so that then you could be able to have more room with that character, right? So it's like a lot to think about when you're like making comics, and I think that, you know, a lot of people usually do this. Here, let me make a new one. So let's do this and put it at this. This is a typical scroll comic. I'm sure that you guys have seen a multitude of these. A scroll comic, of course, is a little bit easier because you can position the character wherever you kind of want. So you can put the character here. Again, we're gonna do the same thing about the looking up at the character, but there's not as much room. So if this character is talking, you know, you kind of have to still be careful, but you have less room, so it's not as wide. So one problem that I'm going to deal with is I'm going to sketch out this scene. It is not, I've written it, it's not been drawn yet, but here is a scene that I have, and I will draw it in here as well, just so you can see like the difference. So this scene is going to be this. No, it's the other way. It's gonna be very, very small in the scroll comic. But then again, you're gonna be watching it on your phone, so it's gonna be scrolled like this, right? But how I would draw it here is gonna be in a little bit of a different position, right? I'd want the main focus to be here. But yes, I am gonna adjust these to be able to basically become webcomics. So it's gonna go on Webtoons, Tapas. The full comic, however, like the page by page, that one is gonna, those ones are gonna be up on Global Comics, Patreon, and one other place. I forget what it's called. I remember it when I like look it up, but Comic Fury. There we go. Comic Fury, which is like an old comic. It's an old comic website, but it's still around and plenty of people use it. It's kind of an oldie, but it's a goodie. Yippee! Yeah. So I am going to be putting it onto Webtoon. The reason that I'm a little bit skeptical of putting it onto Webtoon is because there will be blood. There's a lot of, definitely, I would say that it's definitely more for 15 and up. Okay? The comic is, and how I'm writing it, is definitely for 15 and up. It's definitely not for kids, alright? Webtoon has a large basis of more of a younger audience, but a lot more people are still reading Webtoons. So there, I would say it does have a pretty wide audience still. Yeah, I can set an age rating, but let me quickly show you that. I wish I could show you the age rating actually. I don't want to go into it, but basically, do you want to know how the age rating is set? So let me just like show you. So you can see like on here I have so much room to do the artwork compared to this where it's going to be a lot smaller. So there is that can become a problem with this kind of comic making as well. So like I'm going to just do it on here so I can kind of show you. So on Webtoon, there's like, you know, they put, because I know there's that Ant one is 18. Yeah, there's like a few that are 18 plus. So there'll be some things here, whatever. Yo, why you chugging? My PC's chugging for some reason. But then you get down to here and there's little boxes. It's like there's like 4 or 5. There's like a few boxes and they're drop downs. They're little drop down boxes. And it basically says, you know, is there cursing, right? So if there's cursing, you have to put how much cursing. So it's basically a 1 to 4 scale on all of these. So you have to, so you don't put the age rating. You don't just say, hey, this is 15 and up. No, you do this. And then Webtoon gives you an age rating. And I've bumped this puppy up to like a lot for all of them. And it still said like for young adult until I changed the only one that had any input on what would change the age rating from young adult to mature. Was literally this last one. And you want to know, or second to last one, do you want to know what it was? Amount of nudity. That was it, folks. Now, there is webtoon artists have been calling out, saying, now there are some webtoon artists that have been calling out and saying that webtoon has been very double standard, okay? Because guess what? There are some comics that have this, that is like borderline, basically, one that I can point out, I believe, is Sub-Zero, which does have a scene in it where it's implied that in this like little scene that they're supposed to be doing the do, right? Now there isn't like a full on 18 plus scene. It's just like one panel, right? One panel. Sub-Zero is not marked as mature. Another comic, a mini comic that a person is making, has 2 girls kissing. Suddenly gets marked as mature. Now, it is definitely a little bit more of a, or I would say, raunchier comic in the ways of how it goes about things, but it's not like completely into the area where it needs to be marked mature, right? Now, what does a mature rating exactly do to your webcomic stuff? Well, you get less discovery. You might not be able to be on the front page anymore, even if you're a Canvas creator. Canvas creators in particular will not be able to be shown on the Canvas thing. So you actually get less views on stuff. So it actually hurts you to have mature rating. Now, some webtoon original creators have also said that the mature rating has been hurting them as well. So, but webtoon kind of has favorites, because sometimes they'll put a mature rating on one person's comic that's a webtoon original, and then a person that has more worse stuff in their comic is not rated mature, but it should be, right? So it's like, there is a double standard. Tower of God. Yeah, I think Tower of God should be labeled as mature, and it's not, is it? Yeah, that's the double standard. But do you want to know why? Tower of God is a manhwa. Tower of God is made by a Korean person. Well, you can have... Okay, so... It's really weird because I can put it on, like, really offensive language. And, like, I could drop the F-bomb in every single, like, chapter of the comic, and it wouldn't really matter. But the reason being that webtoon is really touchy is it's really touchy on everybody else except Korean comics. Literally, look at all Korean comics. Every single one of them get like, are fine. They don't have any problems. None of them have problems. And a lot of comic artists or a lot of webtoon creators have been pointing this out, that there is a favoritism. And the reason being... Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Okay, but the reason that webtoon is very, very okay with literally Korean creators doing whatever they want is because webtoon is a Korean company, first and foremost. So yeah, that's also why, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of webtoon original creators or even webtoon canvas creators that are now leaving webtoon because webtoon is just being really predatory. I'm still gonna post on webtoon just to be able to try and get an audience, because unfortunately webtoon has a really big reader base. If I want more people to be able to read the comic and be able to enjoy it, I am going to have to post it on webtoon. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have to do it. So there is that. there's nothing I can do. There's literally a comic that I really liked to read on there, but the comic that I was reading, that person, so they had a character. So let me just draw the character really quickly. So they had a character. They had a mermaid character. So they had a mermaid character, but the mermaid character did not wear anything on their boobs, right? But they always made sure that it was being covered by the hair, right? This is a trick that's normally done, right? Webtoon kept deleting her panels. Webtoon would go in and delete those pages, even though she had not broken any of the rules. So that's why I'm like, I hear so many horror stories with Webtoon that kind of doesn't make me want to post on there. But at the end of the day, it's unfortunately a necessary evil that I am going to have to post on there. The only thing that I've noticed is some people said Webtoon sometimes does have a problem with blood. And I'm like, great. So yeah. But that's why I'm going to try and post it up elsewhere, so that even if Webtoon does be a butt and tries to and takes it down or says, hey, you can't post this anymore, do the 4 kids One Piece treatment. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of changing the color of their blood to like a different color so it doesn't trigger it. To be fair, one character does canonically have different colored blood, so because they have the blood of a god, so it makes sense for them to have a different color to their blood. So for them, they're fine. Everybody else, no. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But that again, I'm not saying that because of this, you shouldn't post on Webtoon. You can 100% post on Webtoon. It's just Webtoon be a little touchy-touchy, like touchy-feely with some things, and especially if you're not a Korean creator. It is what it is. Again, Webtoon I think is still really good. I think it still has some really good I think it still has some really good stuff on it. You know, it does have good stuff. All right. VPN time? No. No, VPN only works if you're viewing it, right? It doesn't work if you're trying to upload things. Like, it will know the location of where you're uploading something. So VPNs don't work for that. VPNs only work when you're looking at things. Because a lot of people think like, oh, if I just use a VPN, I can just look like I'm uploading from somewhere else. I'm like, no, that's not how that works, honey. VPN only works for looking at things. It'll protect websites from knowing where you are when you look at their site. That's it. It doesn't work the other way around, where you have to upload something. That you would need to make your own in-house VPN. So that means that you would have to make a VPN for your home, which would make you jump locations, right? So there's that. So yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna be making the comic probably on this size. I'm gonna hope that my PC doesn't cry, and if it does, I'm just gonna be making it then on the 6x9 whatever, because eventually when I print it, I do want it to be on printable in 6x9. And by the way, the place that I looked at to be able to print print it if I wanted to. So like print it for myself. I can actually print copies for you guys. So I could go into self-publishing. It's gonna cost a lot of money. And that's why I'm like, I wouldn't do it unless I knew that people were gonna be invested, right? So it's like, I want to make it for print if I want to print it for myself. Literally, I'm doing this just so I can print it for myself, right? More than printing it for you guys. Can I get a signed copy? If I do it, I might do a Kickstarter for it. I might do a Kickstarter, see how much it would cost. Do a Kickstarter. And I would say like the first batch would probably be only 100. And so like only 100 copies. I know like it sounds so stupid to be only 100, but I don't want to be like doing 200, 300 of these and then it's like, oh, I have so much left over, you know? It's like raise money to get 100 for like the first volume or whatever. See how many people we can get. And then, you know, sell it that way. And then of course, you know, I would say whoever backed the Kickstarter, then you guys would be getting a signed copy, right? And then it's like whatever extra that we make, it would be like to be able to purchase more so that then I can sell more, right? I have no idea how I would set it up exactly because I'm not a person that's ever done merch or anything like that or any kind of this stuff. So I would definitely have to be in a position where I don't have to worry about my content creation area and I can just focus on like sending merch and stuff out to you guys, right? And I would say by that point, I would probably also think of starting up a merch store of sense. And probably on that, you know, for my merch store, it would also probably have like, you know, links to the comic or like, you know, I would make a better website for my stuff is what I'm saying. So that then, you know, you guys could purchase like the book or you could purchase merchandise. Actually, you know what? I'll show you guys a quick little thing of some merch ideas that I've kind of had. Is it in here? Yeah. I'm just gonna open this up. I know this makes no sense right now. But one thing I was thinking about was for the characters that you guys could purchase stickers or shirts with this design on it, but it would have the characters here. So each of the characters. So it would have them in their default form. So that means like their form before something happens. And then they get like a cool power up and then magical girl transformation into a different outfit. So there would be two of these. So you could either buy the default one or you could buy the other one. Or if you wanted to buy the whole set, you could buy the whole set, like kind of thing. Now, this merchant stuff would be available on like my current merchandise shop that I have. But in future, I want to make these to be keychains and other things so that then you guys could get like more stuff, right? So it's like this will evolve. But it's like when the comic comes out, I kind of want some merch to be available for people that might be interested in getting merch of the comic if they really do like it or enjoy it, so they can go, oh my gosh, I can actually get merchandise for my favorite comic stuff, right? Like literally, I have a print from one of my favorite comics that I found on Webtoon because I really like the artist and they were a big inspiration for me even like trying to pursue my own art. So I hope to one day meet them. Apparently they live near me. So I found that out randomly. They don't live completely close to me, but they live like in the same area that
gods,
I do.
I can get merch of the smelly artist.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, you can get merch of art. You can get merch of art right now. It's only 1.0 merch, but it's still technically available. I'm not going to get rid of it. I feel like that's sad. It would be sad to get rid of it. But you can get merch. If you do command merch, you can go and get merch right now of the first model of mine. I am working on some ideas for other merch ideas. Actually, one that I am going to turn into merch. If you guys really did like this particular artwork, I have some good news for you. It's going to get turned into merch. It's just going to take a second to load. If you guys really liked this idea, well, good news for you, because when I turn this off, it's gonna be a print for you guys.
Very smelly artists, they need a bath, very monster-like.
Yeah, but this one, this is gonna be some prints, but it's also gonna be a shirt design, so you guys can wear some cool ass monster shirt designs as well. So that's like one of the designs that's gonna get put up there. This is probably gonna be the only one for the time being. Titties. I mean, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, you know, the towers be towering. So yeah, so this is one that is gonna go up there. Another one that is gonna go up is probably one of the first ones that I did, which was let me see. Oh yeah. This one is gonna become a mouse pad for you guys. You're the one put them in the middle of the screen, okay? Hey, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing. But this one is gonna become a mouse pad. So this one, there's either gonna be a smaller one or like a larger, like bigger mouse pad for you guys. So that's two that are gonna be up there. They're looking at me. It's not my fault I looked back. It's okay. You can look at them respectfully. So yeah. But yeah, so these are gonna be up there. I don't know when I'm gonna put them up. I kind of like want to prepare them a little bit more before I put them up there, because there's gonna be a print that you can get of this one. There's gonna be a print, and then there's gonna be like the other stuff. Again, the other one might also have a print and then other stuff, because like how Threadless is set up is really weird. So if I want to make specific merch that is a certain way, I have to like put it in really weirdly, because Threadless is basically a print on demand, but I get most of the money, so that's why it's like good. There's like a few places that have popped up that are kind of like Threadless, but Threadless is like the best for me for right now. It's like, because the other ones didn't exist before, and so I don't want to just keep on jumping from platform to platform to just put things up there. I'm making a George. You're making a... You have to share that in like the media area when you're done. I want to see it in the Discord. I like how we're supposed to be doing art and instead we're talking about just other random shit. But yeah, one thing I do have to do, and I'm going to show you guys this really quickly. So one thing I need to do is, I think it's in view. Yeah, here we go. Where is it? Color profile. Here we go. And preview settings. So you can't see this, but you're gonna see how it's gonna change. So watch the color here. Watch the color. There you go. And then change this to saturation. It didn't change too much, but I do have to make them CMYK. CMYK is what most printers and stuff use. So I will be having to change these illustrations and stuff to CMYK to be printable. So that's something I gotta do as well. It's an ARC deck so far, so I don't have it in cardboard, but soon. Tempted to take a George art to make them card sleeves. You know, I will make you a George art that can become card sleeves. Just give me the card dimensions that I need in order to, so you can be able to print it. I'll make it for free, just for fun. Jose has them? That's true, he might. He might have it. By the way, ads are gonna start, so what I'm gonna do is actually do some stretching. I know. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do some stretching. So if you guys want to do some stretching, you want to get some water, you want to get some snackies, you better do it now. Yeah, but let me just exit out of all this. No, I don't. Don't need that. Don't need that. That was just showing off. I will say though, part of me wants to know. I'm gonna test something, but you guys won't see it. How big is this gonna be? Oh, it could probably fit. Yeah, it could probably fit most of it in here. Oh, actually, I could. Nice. Alright. I was just testing something, just for fun. Just save that. But I'm gonna get up and stretch a little bit. I actually don't have my weights in here anymore. I used to have my weights in here. And then I would do I would do my weights. I have like 5-pound weights that I usually carry here and there, but I don't have. What do you mean connecting to chat OBS? OBS being weird, funky. Okay, let me just like make sure I can back up my stuff a little bit more, and then I'm gonna be up and stretching. Yeah, one thing I'm gonna do is actually stretch out my wrists. Make sure to always stretch out your wrists. Get up, stretch out your wrists. Ooh, that actually cracked my wrist. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was a wrist crack. Gotta crack your wrist. Oh, that cracked my other wrist. This is why you stretch your wrist out, guys. I'm not doing it for as long that I need to do it. I'm just doing it enough to where, you know, it just stretches it out a little bit. Because it is important for you to stretch your stuff. Because if you don't stretch, then you end up with, like, getting hurt. Or tendinitis. You don't want tendinitis. You don't want carpal tunnel. It hurts. How do I know this? Because Jose had it. And he told me about how much it was. Like, how much pain he was in. So, yeah. And we're back. So, I hope you guys got some stretching in. I stretched my wrists and also just, like, got up and kind of just, like, got out of my chair a little bit. I think that that's what people should be using ad breaks for. I know that a lot of people do not like the ads and ad breaks and stuff, but I'm like, you know, you should probably try and use, like, the ad breaks for getting up and stretching yourself, because you've been probably sitting there for who knows how long. Ooh, let me put my glove back on. My glove is literally a knitted fingerless glove because my other drawing glove that I had that what you need? 5x7 5x7 ratio size. Make sure the resolution is at least 30 dpi. Oh yeah, I actually have that. You guys can't see this, but it's okay. This is a 5x7, and it is 600 dpi. And then if I wanted to, I would probably put a bleed on it. So canvas properties. Add border lines for printing. Here we go. Trim size. The trim size, I believe, is going to be a 5x7. And then I would say that the bleed would probably, 2.0 is probably fine. What? Trim margin. Set the trim margin smaller than the paper size minus the... What? Set trims margin smaller than paper size minus bleed width. Where is trim margin? I'm not even joking. It's literally what the... Yeah, no, cancel. What the fuck? Alright. But yeah, if I was making it, I would make it in this with like 600. Because then I can shrink it or grow it to wherever I need. Because if it's a 5x7 ratio, then I'm guessing 5x7 inches. Of course, technically a Magic the Gathering card is not 5x7, you know? So I would just make it this big, draw it on here, and then see what the sizing of the card is for what you need to print out. Because the thing is that you don't want any white parts, right? So you want it to bleed. A lot of people don't know what bleed is. Bleed just means that the image exceeds past where it's gonna get cut. Because when you're in a there's big machines, if you've ever seen them. There's big machines. There's these big, huge, like, cutting machines. They're like massive. And like a person is about this small, right? And you put the paper in the machine and it cuts it. It cuts it to like a certain size. So you always need to make sure that the paper of whatever you're drawing on, you have some bleed. This is something I learned like from digital practices. You want to make sure that the artwork goes beyond it so that then when this part gets cut, nothing gets cut off. So, of course, if it's all white, then fine. But if there's like artwork that goes beyond it, like you need to make sure that it goes beyond it. Or else you're gonna end up with just like a white line with stuff. And that's not really fun. I like how we're learning so much about printing and comic making and just a random book stuff and all that sort of stuff. We're learning the most random stuff. I feel like my art streams is less me doing art and me just talking about whatever I want. Wait, which frog card did you decide was George? I forget what it's called. I forget what it's called, but I can draw it for you. I'm not even joking. I forget what it's called, but I'll draw it for you. It's the one where there's the frog lady, and she's like this, and her arms are out like this, and she's like walking towards you. She's like walking towards you, all elegantly and stuff, and she's got like cool stuff, and she's got boobs. For some reason, they gave the frog lady boobs. But yeah, that's the one. Again, I don't remember what the actual one is. I just remember that. That's all I remember. Zabasun, Luke's embodied. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. I just know, you know. I just know what it looks like. That's it. There we go. I got a question. Do people want to be up in the mountains, or do you guys want to be more in the forest? Okay. Anyways. Leia, no. Liz gonna go bark at the person that's at the door. I keep telling my mom we gotta put a no solicitor sign. There was like a time where there was like nobody, but I think it was because it was like COVID and everything, so nobody was doing door to door. Ever since like 2024 or 2025, I feel like it's just increased to such an extreme. You don't have it? Yeah, I don't have the card, but I also don't have a no soliciting sign. I need one. It's just that my mom and I keep forgetting. Okay, if I put a no solicitor sign up on my throne, will you guys buy it? No, go get one. I don't know where to get one though. The only place that I see them on is like Amazon or whatever, and I don't want to order from Amazon. You know, I could probably find one at Walmart. I could always go, it might be at Walmart or Target. I was gonna say, oh, or it could be at Joann's, but then Joann's doesn't exist anymore. F in chat for Joann's. I'm like trying to... You mean Spirit Hall? Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, Spirit Halloweens. They're all Spirit Halloweens now. I'm gonna turn on something really quickly, because I want to see. So this is like, as you can see, this was heavily referenced. They got their little doggy! Yo! They got their doggy! I didn't even notice this. This is the first time I'm noticing that in this picture that they brought their dog. Okay, so you can kind of like see a lot of the area. Because I was like, from up here, can you like see a lot? And I'm like, yeah, because you're like looking up and down at it. So, let me like reference here. Okay, so we're gonna have a lake off in the distance that we can kind of see. It's so hard. I will tell you this much. I love drawing sceneries, but I don't like drawing sceneries from different points of perspective.
I don't know. One thing was like trying to think of like what I wanted the background to be, because this is probably going to be used by both the male and female model. So it's like I want to be able to show both sides of, because technically both are going to have an outside area. So this one is going to be the lake area, which is over here. I'm technically changing this to now up here, or like technically over here. Because if you can see this on over here, then that means that you're going to be able to see this part up here. So I'm just going to be like one area right here. So there's going to be some differences. But this is a map of the national park. I'm just changing it. But I kind of like that you can see the outside a lot more. Yeah, I will be using these 3D objects. I think that a lot of people, when they see like people using 3D objects, they're like, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna like just use these for color blocking. So I'm gonna block in the color and then I'm gonna paint over them. So I'm not just like gonna default use this stuff. Because I think like that's one thing in like with webcomics and stuff, that they just default use it and they just don't go over and paint stuff. But you'll notice that in when I was doing my comic, when I was first like making it, I did use 3D objects, but I painted over all of them. One, because most of them, they didn't have color, or I didn't like the color, so so I had to go over and I had to repaint them, you know? Or else the lighting and stuff wouldn't fit. Like my coloring and designing is too different to be able for it to work. So, I will say one thing before anything is like, I have been thinking of also making this to be able to move. So that's why it's like, it's gonna be a little bit harder because I do want it to be able to like move and stuff. So all these little tentacle places here, the spooky tentacles, these are gonna move all over here. All these little places are gonna move. And then probably over here, you're gonna see stars falling, of course, because that's how I have it on my normal chatting screen. So that's still gonna be used. But I might have it go more across the sky to like connect here. So it's probably not gonna be happening as often, but yeah. The problem is now it's like, do I want to get started on actually like color blocking this or not? So I did not sneeze. I looked like I did a sneeze. I didn't do a sneeze. The sneeze refused to sneeze. I have no idea what color I'm gonna make the walls. So I'm just gonna put a color in and it'll be temporary. Oh, I gotta turn the walls back on. Yeah. So. No. Why does this look... Okay, well, that's gonna have to be lower then. Da 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 da. Let me do that. Do that. So, this would have to be here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want that there anymore. Oh my goodness, hold on. This needs to go up here. And then... go. I'm working from like backwards, and I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Patch, welcome in. Hi, buddy. We're working on a new chatting background overlay for the future. I don't know when I'm gonna use this. It'll be in the future though. It'll be for at least sometime in the future. I wanted to have this ready by my birthday, but it is September and my birthday is November. I was also gonna have a new outfit, but I'm still debating on what I want that outfit to look like, and I also realized I'm going to have to rig it on a completely different model. So I can't like put it onto this model. I would have to make it on a new. So, yippee. At least the thing is I can just copy the head. I can copy the head, and pretty much most of the stuff that I have I can just copy over. Because I think I can copy all the arms over. As long as I make it in the same stuff, I can probably copy all the arms over too.
A devotee is checking in. To ensure check-in is complete, please give me your credit card.
Thank you for giving George your credit card. We will use and abuse it. Don't worry, not literally. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry. Totally won't do that. Oh, that's why, okay. Hold on a minute. I'm going to need to solo the windows really quickly. Need to turn that off. Need to turn that off. And need to turn that off. Anything over here that I need to turn off? I'm gonna need to turn that off. And turn that off. This is so I can cleanly cut the windows out. So then we can be able to see outside. Alright, perfect. And then I'm just gonna extend this a little bit. So then when we put the windows over top, there's no like little space between them. There we go. Now, as you can see, we can be able to see outside. Yippee! That's not what I want. Oop. Oh, I'm gonna need to turn more stuff off. Okay. Yeah, the one kind of problem about stuff like this is like... Well, this I can turn off now. Oh my goodness. What the... Aye. Here, let me see if I can just do this. we go. So then I can turn this off. Ba, 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 ba. I think you guys are getting to see the picture now of what this is gonna look like. Oh, I need to do room base. So we have the walls. We need the floor. Then we need the ceiling. Oh, ceiling is gonna go above the floor. Floor. Alright. And then this. Just gonna select. I'm gonna make it like a brown. Because I want it to be like a wooden color. Again, colors are subject to change. We're just kind of putting stuff down so I can kind of get an idea of what this is gonna like be and look like, right? That's pretty much it. And then ceiling, also gonna keep in that brown color. This one's gonna be a little bit interesting though, because I want it to get all these little cubby areas. Some wooden beams. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh. Like, you have to get, like, so close. That. I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. There's a reason that I just end up picking them instead. Because it's just easier to do this. Technically, I know this is lazy, but it's a faster way to get it done because it's like I already blocked it all in. But I still have to paint over it. I still have to do the process of painting it. Work now, please, phone. Oh. Well, I saw it. I finally saw something, so something working. Yes! Yay! Alright. Uh-oh. Make sure. There you go. Yeah. So, beams are up. So you can kind of see those. And then, now do the bed. The bed I might have to draw myself because there's a lot of parts to it. And it's not exactly the same as a 3D one. But thankfully, it's a bed. Beds can be curvy. It's getting in my way. That is too big. There we go. Oh, I was like, wait a minute. Is the thing I'm watching over? I'm like listening to some other audio stuff in the background. Alright. Anyways. We are gonna turn some things on, but yeah. And then let me do rain. I'm just gonna make them different colors just so I can be able to see what I'm doing. I would dare you not give your full undivided attention to us. What do you mean? I'm doing my best here, man. I'm trying to draw. Art is doing art. There we go. Actually, you might see this one back here. There we go. I don't know where I'm gonna find it, but I will find the art. There's an art piece that is gonna be put on to this body pillow, and yes, it is gonna be of Jose before anybody asks. Why it wouldn't have? What? Bro, I don't know what's happening. I'm like slowly but surely getting tired, but I think it's just like I'm trying to get more focused on actually drawing. Because all we've done is talk a lot, and now I'm like, okay, enough yapping. Drawing. Time to draw. You know, I know that like there's some people that are just like, yeah, I'm gonna explain the entirety of my art process as I'm drawing. I'm like, bro, if you have the mentality for that, congratulations. I do not. So funny enough, both of these plushes are based off of actual plushes. I don't actually have these plushies, but they are based off of a plushie that I do have. It is a toy wolf that I've had ever since I was 2 years old, and I still have it. So I wanted to, like, incorporate it. I'm surprised that that thing has not fallen apart yet, but I just take really good care of it. It has just, like, really scruffy fur, but it's, like, you know, now it's just, like, I'm very gentle with it. It's a very old plush. So, they are gonna be here. I would say probably this long one is probably gonna be more referencing towards my dog that I currently have, but I don't want to put my dog in here because, like, some people have said, yeah, I base, like, parts of my model and parts of, like, other things based off of my animal, and then that animal passed away, and then I can't use that model anymore because it's, like, too sad, and I'm like, yeah, so I'm not gonna do that. I think of it as the other way. I think so too, but it's just like, you know, I don't know if after they pass away, if I'll be able to, like, continue using stuff from it. Just because, like, you know, it'd be too soon kind of situation. Yeah, no, we're just gonna... Alright. At least things are, like, kind of getting blocked in a little bit more. So you guys can get to see kind of the fuller picture of what this is gonna look like. It's hard to know with all the sketches. I didn't want to make it, like, too small. Like, the area too small. But I didn't want to make it, like, too massive, you know? Because, the chat is probably gonna be, like, around here-ish. You know? Around here is where I'm gonna put it. And then, you know, me is gonna be more right here, or in the middle. Right? So... yeah. I'm gonna be honest, it's probably gonna be hard for me to figure out where to place myself. Because it's like, there's so many things I don't want to cover up. But it's like, it's necessary. It must be done. No. This one. I am going to try and use this tool. Okay, no. I cannot use it just yet. Need to copy this. Paste it. No, not in the same. Paste it. And then turn this off. So that then when I lasso it, I'll be able to see what I'm doing. Where all the corners are. If it's not exact, it's not exact. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to look like it. And then I gotta do everything inside and on top. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the hard time that I'm gonna have is making everything inside of here. That's why I'm just blocking everything else first. Because it's easier to block things and then deal with it later. But there's another ad coming up soon, so we might do a little bit of a stretchy stretch again. But this time I'm gonna stretch my wrists instead of like getting up. Actually, I kind of do need to go up and probably go to the bathroom, so I will probably use that time. Scary ads. Yeah, I'm gonna use the time actually to go to the bathroom. So if you need to get up and stretch, maybe go grab a snack, get some water, hydrate or dehydrate, man. So so definitely take this time to go and do it, and I will be right back because I'm gonna go use the restroom. So it looked like I did need to go to the bathroom. Because there was apparently a crime scene in my pants. Why is my bitrate suddenly down? Why did I drop? At least I dropped frames while I was gone. It's so weird. I think whenever I use the Battle Royale thing, it goes crazy. Because every single time that I've used it, I've always dropped frames. And then it takes forever for my bitrate to get back up. What the heck? Okay, I think I now have started to realize that using things with stream avatars apparently just kills my bitrate for some ungodly reason. Well, I've also noticed that once I get to 2.5 hours, for some reason my bitrate drops and then it goes back to normal after 5-10 minutes. I'm like, yippee. Anyways, we're just gonna continue on. You know, we're just gonna continue on. At least the bitrate for the video will be fine. Cause that doesn't require like uploading digital bitrate, you know. I almost forgot to put my glove on. Me drawing without protection? Oh my gosh, how scandalous. You know what I might do? Is in here. There's this. And I know this doesn't make sense, but it will in a second. I need to do this as well. Okay. I just need to make sure that this was like as perfect as possible, so that's why I went quiet. Because I gotta make the rug. And the rug is a circle. And this is gonna change. There we go. Remember the outside line. Ah. Hold on. Not that. And then this is gonna be, I think I made it. Yeah. Oh, you know what I could have done? So I wonder if I can go into this. Can I? What does this do? Add to section. There we go. Yeah. I think I can about eyeball it. Because now I can do this. There we go. Well, that tells me immediately that that is not right. That is too low. No. Here. You need to go here. What? No. Yes, apply transformation. Jesus. Yeah. I just want things to be lower. I hate it here. There we go. So now that and that is correct. Mm. And then da 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 da. Yeah, that's how I feel. You start to get to a point where you're just like having a massive crash out because you just hate everything in the world and you're just like, I don't want to do this right now. There we go. Yeah. Oh, right. One thing about if I want to do this, I have to delete all the rulers in here. Yes, delete. Rug acquired. And then let me put it down here. I just want to put a rug in here, or else like this area would be just like completely empty, and it just looked weird with it completely empty, and I just didn't like it. And then I might just color block like the desk and everything like that. Just like grab it and then duplicate and then just color it and all that sort of stuff, because then it's easier. And also make sure that whatever is behind it is also colored. Oh yeah, I gotta turn some stuff back on. I gotta turn my fan on. I gotta turn my fan back on. A little fan here, man. And then the background, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this background. But I am getting like kind of tired. But we did do a lot of work. I mean, you know, we started coloring in and we finished some sketch on this, and so we're starting to color it. At least I'm doing the one thing I want to do, which is kind of color it and finish it. But now I just kind of want to finish it on my own instead of doing it on stream. Do you guys want to see the other things that we could have worked on? Because I actually tossed a coin to see what else we could have worked on. So I'm gonna show you the two other things we could have worked on. But this ended up getting picked instead. Where is it? Where is he? There he is. Could have worked on this. Or it's somewhere else, isn't it? I think it's over. Yeah, I think I put it under here. Or we could have worked on this. And instead, we got this. So I might do that again for next week of coloring stuff. It's like we have 3 projects that we can work on, and then it's like I will let it toss a 1 through 3, and whatever it lands on, that's what we draw. That's what we work on. So we might work on this, we might work on this, or we might work on this, depending on if I have other artwork. When Halloween comes around, it's all gonna be Halloween artwork, okay? So you guys kind of know. But for September, we're kind of just drawing whatever we feel like. By the way, I completely forgot that it's September, so there's discounts on subs. I don't really care if you sub. You can if you want to. You don't get ads. Helps me and helps the channel out, because honestly, this is really the only way I'm making money right now. Other than commission work. Which I am going to be trying to see if I can open my artistry back up. It's been a while that since I've used artistry, but I kind of want to redo everything. So if you need any art illustrations or anything like that, artistry is probably going to be the open one. That'll always be open. So instead, like Ko-Fi, and basically artistry, I get all the profits, and whatever money, so you guys technically pay a fee for the PayPal, so I don't have to get so I don't pay for a transfer fee. Technically, you pay for it. Like, it's like paying for shipping on something, you know? So you pay for shipping, but also part of the money also goes to donating to Artistry, the charity foundation, and they will plant a tree for every commission that's done. And I also get all the profits. So if I say, hey, something is going to cost $30, I get all $30. Yippee. So yeah, VGen is cool and all to like get you out there, but I don't think it's really completely great. I think artistry is better for like money wise. You just still, it's still again the one thing I kind of hate with mostly VGen and artistry is that you really have to market yourself, and it's really really hard because there's a lot of other people that are also on artistry, and there's also a lot of people that are on VGen, so you have to really kind of market yourself out there. But yeah, I think we're gonna end it here because I'm getting kind of tired, and I can already tell that I'm getting irritated with stuff, and I don't want to be irritated on stream with you guys. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do good thing, and I'm gonna go and relax and probably read or take a nap or something. Sometimes I take a nap in the middle of the day. I just go, I'm gonna go take a nap. Naps are good. But yeah, eventually this background screen is gonna change to that one. This background will still be here. I'll just rename this background to be something else. So we are still gonna have this background chatting screen. It's just gonna be changing for a little bit of the other future of like changing between them. So some days I might decide to use this model and then we'll be in this background. But then if I use other models, we will probably switch to different backgrounds depending on what I want. Or this model might be in that background. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. So this background is still gonna stay around. It's just, you know, we're gonna switch it up here and there. So you can always come back every stream and you'll never know what background you're gonna get. You never know which area we're gonna be in. And maybe I might even be it that, like, you know, you guys can say like, hey, we want to go to the fire lookout, and I'll be like, okay, we're gonna go to the fire lookout and we're gonna chat in the fire lookout, or like, hey, we want to go over here, then we can go over there. That'll be for more just chatting streams, I would say, but for other times I'm gonna like have those redeems like off so you guys can't redeem that. But like for just chatting, I'll like turn that kind of stuff on so we can go and travel to different places and just chill and chat about. So yeah. But yeah, let me actually save this out as like as a whip. I see. I'm like turning down some resolution on it so that it's so no one can like print it or anything. I don't know. Just gotta protect yourself in some areas. But you know what we are gonna do today? Something I've been wanting to do for a while is raid people. I feel like it is time for raidness. I usually always do you, so we're gonna pick somebody else. I don't know what this person's playing exactly, but we're gonna go raid them. It's a Tales of. I'll just tell you that much. I need to put a button on my thing that'll basically put in the chat to raid. So I can just push a button and it'll do the raid message instead of me just doing that. So then it's automatic. Thankfully, their name is very easy to spell. Yeah. So let me just get that raid going. So remember to grab the raid message so that then we can go and raid him respectfully with a ginormous raid message that we always spam in other people's chats. So I feel like the only time that people don't mind spamming is when you raid. That is the only time people do not mind spamming. But yeah, we are gonna raid my good friend, Koen Haru, who is a panda VTuber. He does play he plays a lot of variety of different games, especially that of Dark Souls, but every once in a while he plays a lot of story games as well. So right now he's playing a Tales of series, so playing some JRPGs. That's very nice. So if you want to go and check him out any further, you can just kind of relax. He's a pretty cozy streamer. Not as chaotic as me most of the time. And without any further ado, I just want to say I'm glad to be back to streaming. I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys. I know I said this last week, but I missed you guys. But we got a full schedule week planned, so you will see more of me. And as I always say, may the stars guide you. Until next time, goodbye everybody.